Hello, I'm Jose Rodriguez, and this is the Misconception of Gamers.
And my name is Elizabeth Urbina. And the purpose of why we wanted to do this study was to find out if our participants if gamers show any aggression while playing video games. Our hypothesis for this research was to find out if aggression is shown in gamers, and we had thought that there was going to be aggression shown while the participants played. The way we wanted to find out our data was through observational and watching our participants and doing surveys on them.
Researchers are worried about the relationship between aggression and video game players. These same researchers came up with two propositions, one of which was creating and comparing a general aggressive model with a diathesis model. The diathesis model carried out more information on other models created by other researchers on aggressive levels. This was presented by Richard Lamb and his colleagues. The results suggest that a combination of environmental factors and genetic predispositions trigger the lashing out in games.
Our second journal article is called Impacts of Playing Violent Video Games Among School-Going Children. This research was conducted by Salman Khalil and his colleagues. What they wanted to find out in the purpose of this study was to see if video games are causing aggression and if they are affecting students' academics. And the way they did this was through questionnaires on 400 students. They realized in the data that there was 62.07% of males that actually wanted to apply what they saw in video games in real life. And they also collected that males had a percent of 63.21% that did poorly on like tests and exams, and while females only had a 33.33% that did poorly in exams. So in conclusion, they realized that males were getting more affected by the video games.
Twitch streamers were selected and contacted to participate in the experiment, to observe and answer some of the survey questions. We kept the individual participants anonymous in our studies, and we used SurveyMonkey as our platform to gain the information. Participants were a mix of friends and people we had just met on Twitch or people we had watched before. We gathered the info through Twitter, sending out the SurveyMonkey email to them and gaining information through there to see if there was a pattern in aggression and if there was repetition amongst them. Our questions regarded how many hours played, which gender was most affected by games, did aggression linger after playing, which category of games cause aggression, what kind of aggressive actions were taken, and if they were reduced, or how would they rate themselves in their aggressive behavior.
In our results, we had certain graphs such as how many hours they were playing on a daily, and we had participants that played 1 to 2 hours daily, which only had a percent of responses from like 11.11% that responded to that. There was 3 to 5 hours we had a good majority of participants that responded that with 55.56%. And by 6 to 7 hours played a day, there was 22.22%. And 8 or more hours that we only had a percent of 11.11% of people that play daily. And our second figure, we have males and females, and seeing like who are our participants. Males, we had 44.44%, while females, we had 55.56% of female participants. In figure 3, we go on and ask them if they believe they are aggressive, if they themselves believe it. And well, we had a lot of people that in our research that did say that that they are not aggressive, and there was a 77.78% that said that, while we had 22.22% that did believe that they were a bit aggressive. And in our next one, we asked to figure out if they perform any aggressive actions while playing video games, such as raging, cursing, screaming, throwing objects. And for screaming, we didn't have anyone that said that they did scream while playing video games, but we did have participants that said that they would rage, and that was at a 22.22%. Cursing out loud, there was a lot of participants that did say that they did curse out loud, and we had a percent of 77.78%. We didn't have any participants that were saying that they were throwing objects while playing video games. And we did have some participants that said that they did none of the aggressive actions while playing video games, which was a percent of 22.22%.
For this experiment, willing participants were observed to determine if playing violent video games cause aggression. The purpose of this study was to find out if video games increase aggression in people. Our hypothesis was incorrect since most participants were not very aggressive. Most participants would curse and a few of them would rage while playing the game, but overall they were not seen as aggressive. Solo play was necessarily the only way to possibly get a direct response on the aggressiveness when online playing alone, but none of them were severe cases. Future research should be done to collect more data since we were not able to get as many people as we wanted for this experiment. The data collection could be biased due to the limitation participants that we had gathered in this research. One limitation was that we had very few participants since many of the gamers we reached out to did not respond or respond in time for the collection data process. Another limitation that we had was our approval wasn't given to us after a certain amount of time, therefore reducing the amount of progress we managed to make.
Here is our list of references, and this is what we used for our research. And you are welcome to look further into them if you like or have any further questions that we were not able to answer during this presentation.
We would like to thank Dr. Nora Garza and the Tidal Leaps 3 program for allowing my partner and I to be able to do this experiment.
Thank you.